Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Yeah, I know our last meeting was a little bit, I know you were a little frustrated, a little stressed. How are you feeling this meeting?
Um, I'm feeling better than last meeting. I'm kind of happy I was still able to get my medicine even though the insurance didn't pay for it,
Mm-hmm.
which was a little upsetting because I have good insurance.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, why you guys are not paying for my medicine? But I handled it. It's
Yeah.
okay.
Well, like I said, I know you decided that you're going to pay out of pocket, but if at any time, you want to try and find financial means to pay for it instead of just feel free to contact me.
Okay.
Okay? So we're going to recap a little bit about last meeting and go over a couple things and see how you're doing this week. We're going to talk a little bit about the support group that you're in, the individual therapy that you started, and what's going on with you and your boyfriend. I know last week, you didn't really feel like sharing that much, and you were a little stressed out. So, if you're still starting to feel a little apprehensive or anything, you don't have to share. I just thought we can kind of touch on some things about that, okay?
Okay. That's awesome.
So I know last week you were saying that you were enjoying the support group and you were thinking about sharing your own story. You mind sharing what happened this week?
Yeah, so this week I did build up the courage to share my story. It was difficult at first, but it was almost like fate. There was like a woman that came in to share her story and it was similar to mine. So the feeling of feeling like people may judge me or I'm alone in this situation made me feel better. But in the session, I got to discuss how long me and my boyfriend was in a relationship and how everything was good. And I kind of expressed that, now that I'm in my 30s, it's like when I look back, we were kids, so our relationship started almost as 15 years old. And then as we got into adulthood, things has changed about it. So I kind of explored how it took a dip and how it took, a dip on me emotionally.
Right.
As far as feeling like I was that kid, one boyfriend, never had no other sexual partner, just me and him. Took it seriously. I thought I'd be married at 21 and having multiple kids and all these things, and to have nothing. So that was kind of hard to share that. But I was able to share it. I also talked about my relationship with him as far as when it took a major turn just a few years ago. It bothered me to say out loud, even though I felt like I needed to, share it. But it bothered me to kind of state that my boyfriend left me for a prostitute.
Right.
So I was able to share that. I feel like it's almost like embarrassing.
Okay.
Even though it's his choice, and if he wanted that type of nastiness, then that's what he wanted.
Yeah.
But
Did you feel embarrassed that it happened, or did you feel embarrassed sharing it with the group?
I feel embarrassed that it happened.
That happened.
And I'm embarrassed for sharing it. Because I feel like it's like they're going to look at me as, oh, that's the girl whose boyfriend left her for a stripper. That sounds crazy.
But how did you feel after you shared it in the group? Did you still carry that feeling of embarrassment,
No.
or No?
No. Honestly, after I shared it and to see how people sympathize, and actually one woman, she reached out to me and she said to me, him choosing that girl, that was him.
Right.
That had nothing to do with your character. You still who you are.
Right.
So to hear someone say that, and my friends say that all the time, but to hear a stranger say that to me, it kind of hit home more.
Yeah,
it's
like a fresh input.
Yeah, it's like, wow. I know my friends are going to say things like that because they have to.
Yeah.
But she didn't have to.
Yeah, because she's coming, she doesn't know you, yeah. So that's good that you had this positive experience with the support group. Is it something you want to continue doing, even though your individual therapy started, or?
I would like to continue doing the group. It gives me like a level of confidence to talk about my situation, and if I can talk about this among strangers, I can get to a comfortable state of talking to him about it.
Mm-hmm.
And just, being able to really, really express how I feel, without feeling shut down.
Right, right. So to shift gears just a little bit, with your individual therapy, I know at first you were feeling like it was kind of repetitive because you're meeting with me. How's that going? Are you still?
I still feel like it's repetitive.
Still feel it's repetitive?
I do. The difference is when I sit with you individually and talk about what's going on, it's more like a flow. It's not like pressure, pressure, pressure. The individual counseling is like focused on just straight cutthroat. It ain't just about just me and like we talk about me and different little things and all this about my lupus and about the relationship. It's straight relationship, so it's making me have to face it like head on, even though sometimes I don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
You don't put the pressure, so it's like.
I feel like even though if it really feels like it's being pressureful, I would say share that with your individual therapist. Let them feel that let the person know that you're feeling like it's moving too fast, that you're feeling more pressure to share than actually feeling comfortable to share, because there's a difference,
Mm-hmm.
So I would say mention that to him, and then maybe next week we could talk about, how that conversation went, and what do you think about continuing the individual therapy?
Okay, I would like that.
Okay. So I know last week you were telling me that you and your boyfriend have been getting in constant arguments, and you weren't sure what was the cause of them, and you were just getting irritated and frustrated over the whole thing. Where do you guys stand now? Did y'all have a chance to calm down, or?
Kind of. I feel like after that, we end up having like another serious argument because of the simple fact that it's like hard for me to fully trust him. I don't know whether he's here just for another 2 or 3 months like before, or if he's here to stay.
Okay.
So little things agitate me, and I after our session, I kind of realized that I haven't, and I'm still not willing to let certain things go, and that can be causing the argument and a conflict in our relationship. And then he is in a different space because he sits there and says, okay, we talked about this, it's over, move forward. So he's able to just, because let's go, let's clear the way, and let's do this, and I'm holding on, so that makes it like a constant battle.
Do you think it's just because there's some pain there and some hurt that have to be acknowledged, openly by the both of you before you can move on?
I think so.
Is he still close to coming to therapy or coming to maybe one session? Have you all spoke about that? No, he's not open, or
no? We haven't spoke about it.
Okay.
I don't think he's gonna be willing to do it, so I don't wanna. I kind of mentioned it, and then it was like a shutdown type of thing, so I just left it alone.
He's still shut down? So maybe we might have to try some different avenues as far as how to facilitate that conversation between you two so that it could move forward without the presence of a therapist, How are you feeling about the whole situation?
Moments of me feel good, mainly because he's there. But then there's other moments where I feel like him being there is no different to how I felt when he wasn't, if it makes sense. I don't know how to explain, but...
You said him being there is similar to the feeling that he wasn't there. So are you trying to say that you still feel an absence even when he's around?
That's exactly what I'm trying to say.
Would you like to share more? Like, how is it you're feeling this absence even though he's right next to you?
I think I don't know, I think what I'm feeling is probably a little disconnected.
Disconnected?
Like I don't want to be alone, and this is the only person I see myself with, having children with, and all these different things. And it's like, I want him with me. But now that he's with me, I still have all these other little problems that makes it hard to just move on.
Okay. Well, I would say maybe before our next meeting, You try and think about, what is it that can bring y'all connection back together? Or, what can be said or done? Because he's not willing to come to couples therapy. Or even though he's around, you still feel like he's absent. So at this point, what are you ready to do? You're tired of the arguing and things like that. So maybe let's venture to see, where do you stand in your relationship with him, instead of thinking about the past and how you guys have been together forever, It's good to see that you aren't as stressed and frustrated today. It's good to know that, things have calmed down a little bit, even though y'all had another serious argument. You seem to be sharing more this time. So are you comfortable with that, or?
I feel very comfortable with it.
Okay. So, our session's coming to a close. We're just going to go over a couple of things. So it's great that you're loving the support group. I'm really good that, you feel comfortable to share. You're getting some support in that support group, which is there for. And I'm glad to hear that you want to continue it, especially since your individual therapy has started. I know you're not really taking a liking to individual therapy right now, but as I recommended before, share those thoughts with that person, because at the end of the day, it's about how comfortable you are in that setting. And there can't be progress made if you feel like you're being pressured the whole time. So I would say share that with him. And then by next week when we do a follow-up, take that time to think about, how you're feeling in your relationship and some of the things you might want to do. And we can discuss that and the individual therapy next session, okay?
I love that.
We could do a follow-up next week. Are you, when you're available, or
Yeah,
find
next
out?
week I'll be available.
Okay.
I have availability 2 days next week, which is like Wednesday and Friday.
Okay, so we'll schedule that today, and I'll see you next week, okay?
All right, thank you.
It was great meeting you
Have a
today.
good day.